Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is back in Jagannath Puri, and he and devotees are all extremely very happy. So the first person who is extremely happy is Pratap Rudra Maharaj, because after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, he had asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, would you be kindly able to introduce me to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, yes, of course. Once he comes back, I will be surely able to introduce you to him. And by then, we want to arrange a place for of residence for him. So please arrange for that. So he arranges that. So now that the Supreme Lord is back, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet with the king. So this is not normal any other person. This is the king of the king Orissa, and he's a very influential person. And imagine if he personally is very eager to meet Lord Chaitanya, and if he becomes a devotee, it could be a very important event. So that's why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya makes a point, as soon as King Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes back, he requests him to meet Pratap Rudra Maharaj. But Lord Chaitanya, completely to the complete dismay and disbelief of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says a very flat refusal of that request. So he says, Niskinchanasya bhagavad bhajanonmukasya param param jagamishor bhavasagarasya sandarshanam vishayinam atayoshitam cha ha hanta hanta vishabhakshanato api asadu. He says it is not at all right for a sannyasi to meet a king, a politician. It is completely forbidden. I will not do that. And he said, and Sarvabhauma, see, what you say is right. The words you're quoting is literally is what you're following. That's perfect. However, the king is not any ordinary person. He really is a great devotee, and he's a sincere servant of Lord Jagannath, and he is completely accepting you as a supreme Lord. Please let him have the darshan. Lord Chaitanya says, still, whatever it may be, he's still a politician. I will not meet him. And immediately after that, Ramananda Rai, who Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met during his South India tour in Kovur with Vidyanagar. So he is back. He comes back to Jagannath Puri, and he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, says, my dear Lord, I informed King Pratap Rudra of your order to retire me from the government service, and he immediately relieved me. He said, the king was so pleased just by hearing your name. He immediately got up from his throne and he embraced me, and he catching hold of my hand. So he was displaying all the symptoms of love just hearing your name, and he granted a full salary as a pension without any deductions, and requested me to completely engage in your service without any other anxiety. So he's not any ordinary person. Ramananda Rai was a governor of this kingdom. So it's a big post, but Pratap Rudra Maharaj was so happy that I'm unable to directly engage in his service. At least you are able to engage in his service directly. So immediately he did not think, oh, my governor who works under me, he is being granted a personal service, and why not me? He did not think like that. Rather, he was very humble. He thought, Krishna's mercy is upon you, so you should actually completely engage yourself in the service. And in this way, Pratap Rudra Ramananda Rai comes and speaks about the glories of Pratap Rudra, and also says that, my lord, I don't think I even have a fraction of love that the king has for you. The loving ecstasy he exhibited and the mood that he has, I don't even have, I even have a fraction of the love that the king Pratap Rudra has for you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard Ramananda Rai, and he said, you are the foremost of all devotees of Krishna, because somebody is actually loving to you, somebody loves you, and somebody serves you. They are very fortunate, and surely their devotion will be accepted by Krishna. He does not say anything else. He says, because you are a great devotee and he is loving you and serving you, he is a very fortunate person, and Krishna will surely accept him. That's all he says. He doesn't say whether he will accept him or not. He just says Krishna will accept him. So the devotees are confused why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not relenting, but still they are keeping their efforts, continued efforts to convince Mahaprabhu to meet Pratap Rudra Maharaj. In the meantime, Ramananda Rai actually comes and meets all the devotees, And then eventually Pratap Rudra Maharaj hears from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he asks, did you actually ask Lord Chaitanya about my meeting? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, no, the Lord has not accepted your request. I tried my best. It's not that I did not try, I tried my best, but the Lord would not agree to see a king or a politician like you, especially a king. He said he will not meet you. And Prataprudra Maharaj, oh, the Lord Chaitanya has descended to deliver all kinds of sinful people. He even delivered Jagai and Madai. He actually went around and he tried to distribute his mercy to all kinds of fallen people. But he seems like he has taken a vow that except Prataprudra, I will deliver everybody else. So that is how fallen I am, that I'm being neglected by the Lord. But if I don't receive his mercy, then there is no reason for me to live. All this kingdom, all this wealth, everything, being a king, it's completely useless. Let me give up my kingdom, or rather, let me just give up my life, because he has told that he will not give me his mercy. So without his mercy, what is the purpose of living? Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was like very astonished to see just intense devotion, the determination that he has to receive the he wants to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya consoles and advises Rudra Maharaj, Pratap Maharaj, you don't need to give up your life. It is very simple. Rathayatra is going to come. You dress up as a normal person, you sweep the cart, and then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be completely absorbed in his ecstasy, go dressed as a normal person in the gardens and massage him and sing Gopi Gita. I'm pretty sure in his loving, ecstatic emotion, he will not be able to recognize you and he will give you his mercy. And Pratap Rudra agrees to this, gives up his plan to give up his life, and rather accepts the plan of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and is very eager to fulfill the plan, and immediately asks, okay, when is Snanyatra coming? Because after Snanyatra, after 15 days, then Rathayatra begins. So he says, when is Snanyatra coming? He says, Snanyatra is coming in 3 days. So then the Snani of the Lord happens, where Lord Jagannath brought out to a platform where they are all bathed with holy waters. And after that, Lord Jagannath becomes sick because they got like an elaborate bath. So he gets sick and does not provide darshan for 15 days. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so desperate in the separation from Lord Jagannath's darshan that he says, I cannot even stay in Puri if I'm not able to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. So he goes to Alalnath to spend time in separation. But the devotees all request Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please do something. And the king also comes to know. And the king says, oh, how did you even allow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go there? He should be here in Puri. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, convinces him that all the devotees from Bengal, they are all coming to Puri. So if you are not there, they'll not be happy. So please come before they arrive. You have to come and be in Puri so that when they arrive, they can have your darshan and association. So hearing the news that all the devotees from Navadvip are coming, Lord Chaitanya becomes convinced and he comes back to Puri, and all the devotees from Bengal arrive. Gopinath Acharya comes and asks King and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to make arrangements for their residence and prasad and all of those needs. Pratap Rudra Maharaj is very happy. He says, he orders the temple superintendent of Jagannath temple to take care of all the needs of all the devotees who are coming to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Navadvip, residences, prasad, darshan. He says, make arrangements to make them all happy. And he also asks who, because he does not know all the devotees in Navadvip. So he asks, and Sarvabhauma, and they all go to the rooftop of the king's palace, and from there they see and they say, oh, this is Advaita, Nityananda, Srivas Thakur, like that. All the introduction is given, and then those devotees all start doing kirtan. And he says, so hearing the kirtan of the devotees, he feels, I have never seen such love for Krishna, I have never seen such dancing, I have never seen such haridhwani, such chanting of the names of Krishna. So I've never heard anything like this. This is so amazing. He says, Avatari Chaitanya Kaila Dharma Pracharan Kali Kale Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan. He says, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains this Prema Sankirtan is actually began by Lord Chaitanya himself, and the Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. He has come to spread the holy names, and in this way they discuss about the devotees who are all arriving from Bengal, and Pratap Rudra Maharaj is trying to know who's who, and in this way They speak about Lord Chaitanya's God, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains to him. And then Pratap Rudra instructs his servant to take care of all the needs of the devotees. He says, whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, provide it. And even if he does not ask, understand his understand his needs and understand the indications and serve to your best of your capacities. He says, Prabhu Ragya Pala Duhe Savadana Agya nahe tabu kariha ingita bujiya. Ingita means indication. Just by his indication, just by his understanding his inner desires, please serve to the best of your capacity. And then Lord Chaitanya personally meets all the devotees, and he interacts with them very personally, offers garlands, chandan. He asks for prasad, and huge quantities of prasad are delivered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's home, and he feeds all the devotees. Everybody is happy. Pratap Rudra Maharaj is so confused. Everyone who comes to Puri as a holy place, as soon as one comes to the holy place, they go to a holy water body, either a river or the ocean or a lake. They actually take bath there, they shave their heads, they fast for a day. So they perform austerities as soon as they come to holy place. But here the devotees directly they came. They did not even take darshan of Jagannath ji. The place is called as Jagannath Puri. You go there, and they did not even go to take darshan of Jagannath ji. First of all, they are supposed to take bath, shave, perform some fasting, go take darshan of Jagannath Puri temple, Jagannath ji. Nothing. They go straight to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house, and they are all eating very nicely. And he's so confused. What is this? I have never seen anyone practice religious principles like this. Why are they not going to Jagannath temple? Why are they not performing any austerity after coming to this holy place? Roma Bhattacharya says, if Krishna himself will personally present as Lord Chaitanya and requesting him to take prasad, so why would they disobey the instructions? So that is why they are not the heart is being pulled to see Lord Chaitanya. So they want to go to Lord Chaitanya, and then bring along with Lord Chaitanya, they want to take darshan of Jagannath ji. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking them to eat. So they are just obliged. If the Lord himself comes and says, please eat, then why will they not eat? So in this way, he explains the behavior of the devotees. And after meeting all the devotees and taking care of them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requests Kashishwar Pandit that please, Kashi Mishra, that please give me a place nearby, because Haridas Thakur does not want to go close to the temple, and he is too humble. He's just staying away from everyone. He is super humble. He considers himself, though he is the Namacharya and so advanced, he's too humble. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understands his mood, and asks Kashi Mishra that, please, I know there is a garden, and there is a secluded house nearby my place. So I would like to have that. And Kashi Mishra says, of course, if you want, just ask. You don't need to, you just order, you don't need to request. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu receives the particular, and then he goes to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur is so humble. He falls, and he says, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces him, he says, oh my Lord, please do not touch me. I am so fallen. Even if you touch me, you'll be like, I'm not even worthy of being touched. So, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just glorifies him, and he says, I have got this special place for you as a residence. You stay there and continue to chant Hare Krishna, and I will arrange prasad for you. One of us will bring you prasad, and we'll take care of you. You just stay there, continue to chant, and you can, from wherever you are staying, you will be able to take darshan of the chakra and the flag of Lord Jagannath's temple. So that is considered as good as taking darshan of the Supreme Lord himself, Jagannath himself. So you'll be able to take darshan of the chakra on top of the temple and offer obeisances. And Jagannath Prasad is considered as non-different from Jagannath. So I will send you the Prasad personally. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya sometimes would carefully take some Prasad. After taking darshan of Jagannath ji, he would personally go and deliver Prasad to Haridas Thakur, or sometimes he would give it to his servant Govinda to be delivered to Haridas Thakur. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really loved Haridas Thakur and made arrangements for him to actually comfortably live and chant Hare Krishna in Jagannath Puri Dham, staying very close to him, because Haridas Thakur wanted the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very badly. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made arrangements for him to come and be with him in Jagannath Puri. And specifically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved his association so much. So that's another reason he wanted Haridas Thakur to stay with him in Jagannath Puri. And in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received all the devotees and took care of them. And now that all the devotees settled in and they all actually became comfortable, they had a residence, they all settled in, took prasad, and they all were taking darshan of Jagannath and everything. In the evening, for a kirtan at the temple. So that is called as the Beda. And Beda means going around and around the temple. Lord Jagannath temple is huge. In the center there is temple, and outside there is a huge courtyard on all four sides. Huge means really huge. Thousands of people can be accommodated in that whole place, literally. So it's huge place. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arranged for a evening kirtan, and how he arranged was he arranged four parties, four kirtan parties in all four directions, and in the center he was dancing. So in this way they would go around and around the temple, because the temple is in the center. A huge temple. It's a temple itself is huge. It has many halls within the temple, but around the temple there is a huge courtyard, and in that courtyard the devotees were going around and around chanting and dancing. And they had like around 8 mridangas and 32 kartal players, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu singing and dancing, leading the kirtan in the center. So it was continuous. They were just singing and chanting, and all the devotees who came from all over Puri heard about it and rushed to the temple. And they all said they have never seen a kirtan, singing or dancing, anything like this. They were all so mesmerized to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's kirtan. And the news went to Pratap Rudra Maharaj. So Pratap Rudra Maharaj, along with his servants, he climbs the top of his palace, and from there he is trying to see this kirtan. And he becomes so touched by the kirtan that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing, and how he's dancing and spreading love. And his own desire, personal desire to receive the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes much more intense, because there he sees that everyone in the kingdom is receiving the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu except him. So it becomes very, like, he becomes much more eager and really becomes desperate. I also want to have this mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And during the kirtan, everybody was thinking that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at them. So, and in that way, he performed these miracles, and he also was floating in love throughout the kirtan. He was just floating around the temple. He was dancing around the courtyard again and again. So in this way, they started doing kirtan every single day. So the devotees were doing kirtan in Jagannath Puri temple every single day. And they would, after the kirtan, they would go back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place. They would take prasad of Lord Jagannath. They would rest, and again they would do kirtan. So it was their only thing. Imagine 4 months of yatra with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally in Jagannath Puri. Whole day is chanting, dancing, and feasting. That was the 4 months of retreat of the Navadvipa that they all never missed for literally for 20 years. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says they came around for 20 years regularly to take the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to engage in this pastimes. They would literally spend 6 months, because it would take a month to come, month to go, and 4 months of stay at the Jagannath Puri. So they spent 6 months of the year literally with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or for traveling to and fro Jagannath Puri. So in this way, the chapter 11 covers how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet King Pratap, which he declines. But Ramanandra and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they start to glorify about King Pratap, chipping away the heart of Lord Chaitanya slowly and steadily. And the devotees from Bengal come back, receiving the news from Kala Krishnadas that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come back from his South India tour and is now residing at Jagannath Puri. So they are very eager, so they all come. And that's the time of Jagannath Puri Rathayatra also, that will come in the next chapter. And so they all come and engage in this Kirtan pastimes, Vedana Kirtan, doing Kirtan around the courtyard of, in outside the temple of Jagannath, surrounding. It's like circumambulating kind of a kirtan. So they were all doing kirtan and going around the temple. That's why it's called as Veda Kirtan. And after this, in chapter 12, we see that now Snanyatra is done. So Snanyatra is done means then Rathayatra has to start. Before then, the cleansing of Gundicha temple is taken up by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that pastime is explained very elaborately here in this chapter, where the devotees actually request Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show mercy on Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Actually, Pratap writes a letter to Sarvabhauma that I will become a beggar. Basically, I'll give up my kingdom and I'll become a no one so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can meet me. If otherwise, if he does not meet me as a king, then I'll just give up the kingdom. I don't require. So the devotees become very concerned. They become very confused because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not willing to give up, and Pratap Rudra Maharaj is also not budging. He is also equally determined. Both are not changing in their opinions. So they become very concerned how to handle this. So Sarvabhaum becomes extremely anxious because if the king does anything like that, it would jeopardize the whole kingdom. So he shows the letter to the devotees and describes that how Pratap Rudra Maharaj is so eager. Upon reading the letter, everyone was astonished to see Pratap Rudra Maharaj's determination and devotion. And they thought, but they also understood that the Lord will never meet the king. So if we keep requesting the Lord again and again to meet the king, he will become very unhappy. So there is a high chance he would again go to Alarnath. So they are all very afraid. If we pressurize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will also be unhappy. And if we don't, then Prataparudra will not be happy. So they were not sure. So they go to Lord Chaitanya, and once again they try to request, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not accept it. So what Nityananda Prabhu does is Nityananda Prabhu creates uh, kind of what you call a truce. He says, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you don't need to personally meet the king, but would you like to send a souvenir? Would you like to send your angavastra? That means your shawl, your top cloth that you use. Would you like to send that cloth to the king? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like, okay. He was already developing soft corner for Pratap Rudra Maharaj internally. So he said, okay, I can understand that you all desire to want me to see the king. However, people will not be happy, and this is not the right thing. However, if you are suggesting that if I can send the cloth, that I'm okay. So then he obtains the external garment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and delivers it to Sarvabhauma and then sends it to the king. So when the king receives the old cloth that used by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he literally begins to worship it as if he would worship a deity. He puts the cloth on a platform and he starts to worship the cloth as if he is worshiping the Lord personally. And Ramananda Rai again actually requests Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet what do you call that? To meet the king. And Ramananda Rai actually asks, okay, why don't you please show your lotus feet to the king at least once? So he explains that how it's not right for a king and a sannyasi to do that. The same argument. So Ramananda Rai says, okay, then you are independent. Nobody would bother if you want to show your mercy. But still, if you don't want, then what we can do is then we can make this arrangement that because the king is the son is non different from the father. So let the son of Pratap Rudra Maharaj come, and I'll be happy to give my mercy to the king. So when Raman Rai actually suggests that, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agrees to that. Okay, let the king's son come, the prince come, and I will meet him. So in this way, there was a what do you call a compromise was achieved, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy because he was dressed like little boy was the prince was dressed like Krishna. He was dressed in an yellow cloth and he had jeweled ornaments. And as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him, he remembered Krishna and he became very ecstatic. He said, seeing the boy, like, I'm immediately remembering of Krishna, so this boy must be a great devotee. So he embraces the boy again, and then by the touch of the Lord, the prince develops ecstatic symptoms. So all the devotees praise him for his great special fortune, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually calms the boy down from his ecstasy and orders him to come there daily to meet him. He says, now because you remind me of Krishna, you please come every day to meet me. So in this way, the prince receives the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, when the boy was taken back to the king by Ramananda Rai, the king was so happy to hear of the mercy that his son received. That's true, right? When sometimes parents can experience more happiness when their children actually receive blessings. So seeing that his son has received such blessings, direct blessings from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Pratap Rudra becomes so happy and he starts embracing his son again and again. He says, okay, you got the fortune of embracing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he embraces his son. So from then on, the king's son, the prince, became a very sincere devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting some like lessons for everybody. And we also see that how Pratap Rudra Maharaj is super eager. And now that Rathayatra is very close, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually seeks permission from Kashi Mishra, who is the temple superintendent, and also at whose place Chaitanya was living, Gambhira Kashi Mishra's place. And he requests that I really want to clean Gundicha temple where Lord Jagannath is going to stay. So he collects all the necessary, he asks for all the necessary utensils and articles, brooms and everything, so that he can go with all the devotees from Bengal and clean the temple personally. Because every year the temple management would engage some paid workers to clean the place. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to do it personally because he was happy that that Lord Jagannath is going to come to that place. Because we all know that Gundicha is non-different from Vrindavan. So in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu literally wanted to make the place very clean because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Jagannath was about to arrive. So he was cleaning by his own example. He engaged all the devotees. He directed them how clean it should be and what they should be doing. And he also was personally cleaning very enthusiastically, completely absorbed and full of devotion. In this way, they very systematically and thoroughly cleaned the Gundicha temple. And he was overseeing that everybody was working and every place was very clean. And they're not just cleaned once, they cleaned everything thrice to make sure that it was all completely pristine for Jagannath's arrival. And in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed how, with attention and care, that he wanted to serve Jagannath. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after everything was cleaned and was dried and everything was ready, he engaged in Sankirtan. So they also cleansed the Narsimha temple, which was outside Gundicha, and then performed Kirtan there. So he was like a maddened lion, it is said. And he was dancing and in the middle as usual, and all the devotees were dancing around Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this Sankirtan was so attractive to everybody. And also, he was the son of Gopal. He actually faints when they were all dancing. And then Lord Chaitanya orders Gopal, oh, Gopal, get up and dance. So then he just starts dancing and becomes happy that he is back. So in this way, there's many pastimes that happens. And then they also, now that they have taken so much effort to clean Gundicha and they engaged in so much kirtan, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brings them all prasad and everybody is offered prasad, and there is a whole description of what they ate and how everybody was served and what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how did he treat all the devotees. So that goes on for like a lot of verses in this chapter. And then there is Netrotsav. Netrotsav is the first darshan that Jagannath ji actually gives. The next day after Gundicha Marjan is the Netrotsav, which was the first day Jagannath ji is offering darshan after a period, because everybody was unhappy for a fortnight. They could not see Jagannath. So now they could actually see the darshan of Jagannath ji. So Lord Chaitanya personally visits Jagannath temple with all the devotees. Kashishwar, he actually walked in the front checking the crowds, and Govinda was walking behind. So in this way, he walked with all his entourage. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes, they're called as the thirsty eyes of Lord Chaitanya. They were like two bumblebees drinking the honey from the lotus like face of Lord Jagannath. So Lord Jagannath's eyes are also like considered as two lotus flowers, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's thirsty eyes were like the bees which was drinking all the nectar. So in this way, the devotees and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all took darshan of Lord Jagannath and they engaged in kirtan. And in this way, they felt great pleasure. And now they were all getting ready. In the meantime, they were all dancing every day in the evening in the temple, and they were all getting ready for the big day, which is the Rathayatra. And soon the Rathayatra also arrives. This is the chapter 13, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his associates, he engages in the Rathayatra festival. So it's such a wonderful description of the whole ceremony. Nowadays they call it Pahandi. Pahandi, right? Anybody on the call? I think in Oriya they call it Pahandi, right? I think it is Pahandi, but in here it is termed as Pandu festival. But that's what in the local area they call it Pahandi, where Lord Jagannath ji is brought from the altar to the chariot slowly, because Subhadra Maharani is brought on the shoulders of the Daityapatis, Pandavas. But Lord Jagannath and Baldev, they actually offer some nice cotton pillows on the bottom, and they are moved slowly. So if you see, Jagannath ji will be like moving back and forth. He'll be slowly walking towards the chariot in a very intoxicated manner. So that whole ceremony where he is brought down from the asan is to the chariot is called as the Pahandi ceremony or the Pandu Vijaya ceremony. So the the Pandas who were specifically engaged in the service of Lord Jagannath during the Rathayatra time, they take Jagannath to the Rath amidst tumultuous sounds and so many musical instruments and chanting, everything happens. And it's a very, what do you call, exciting ceremony. Even today, it is one of the most important parts that people want to catch darshan of during Rath Yatra, how the Lord arrives and enters, comes out or exits the temple and enters into the Ratha. So that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to observe this ceremony. And King Pratap was there. Personally, he was cleaning the floor before the Ratha started rolling. He cleansed the Ratha and the place opposite the road with a golden broom. Of course, I think it's the broom has a golden top, like where the king holds. That's what they call it, as a golden broom, I think. So they, with the help of a golden broom, he just sweeps everything. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually looks at it and he becomes very happy that the king is very humbly taking up this position as a servant of Lord Jagannath. Lord Chaitanya is very happy. And there are many descriptions of the Ratha and how the Ratha is decorated and how it is moving, how the Rath Yatra is proceeding, and then all these descriptions are given. Then the Kirtan parties in the Rath Yatra ceremony are actually explained. How there are like 4 Kirtan parties.
So then the king and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they meet finally.
Oh, okay. The suspense is going to end. So he just saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just saw the king sweeping. So in his heart, it was another good impression about the king. Already, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was developing gradually good impressions of the king. He was softening up. But this was another important thing. He directly saw the king being a simple and a humble servant of Lord Jagannath. So it's going to come next. Next will be this particular in the following chapter. So in this way, then there are 4 kirtan parties and there is 3 additional kirtan parties. So total 7 kirtan parties. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was simultaneously appearing in all groups, and he was chanting Jai Jagannath, and he was dancing ecstatically, sometimes before, sometimes on the side, sometimes on the behind the Ratha. So in this way, he was constantly engaged in kirtan. And also the Lord was appearing in all the groups at the same time. And Chaitanya Pratap Rudra Maharaj was actually offered a special vision, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so pleased with the service attitude of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, taking up a broom and personally cleaning. So he offers him this special vision where he could see from the top how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dancing in all the 7 parties. Other devotees are thinking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only dancing in their party. But Pratap Rudra Maharaj is the only one who could catch this vision, that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is simultaneously dancing in all the Kirtan parties. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued to dance for the pleasure of Jagannath ji, and he performed Kirtan, he danced, and he inspired everybody to dance. So in this way, when when the Lord wanted to dance, then all 7 groups actually combined together sometimes. So sometimes they were behind the Ratha, and if the Ratha stopped, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also push the cart. That will come in the next thing. And famously recites this verse in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Yakkaumara Harasaye Bahivaras. So he says, yeah. So this is in the mood of he is reciting a verse. However, this was a very common, what do you call, from a kavya. It's as good as singing some, not as good as, but very sattvically speaking, it's like singing some kind of a mundane song or something. And all the devotees around Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was confused that why suddenly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is singing something mundane. Imagine like you are in a festival and a devotee next to you is singing some movie song. You'll be like confused. What is this devotee doing? Like, why is he singing suddenly pop music or like an independent song or something like that? So he was, the devotees were confused, but still it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said they didn't know what to say, but they were all like confused. However, Sarupa Damodar Goswami completely understood, and Rupa Goswami was also there later. And this whole pastime will come up later when Rupa Goswami visits, what do you call that? Visits Jagannath Puri. For now, it's like other devotees are not able to understand, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was fully in this mood of Vrindavan because he was in the mood of Srimati Radharani, seeing Jagannath ji as the Krishna in Dwarka and as the Brajvasis from Kurukshetra, they all brought Krishna to Vrindavan. In that mood, he was in that mood. So he was praying to Lord Jagannath, you are the same Krishna, I am the same Radharani. We are meeting again in the same way as we met in the beginning of our lives. Yet my mind is still attracted to Vrindavan. Please again appear with your lotus feet in Vrindavan. So that is the prayer. Even though he was quoting a verse from a mundane literature, the mood was that we both have met in previously, but now again we are meeting. It's not the same place. I'm not feeling ecstasy here, seeing you like a king in Kurukshetra. Please come with me to Vrindavan. That's where, as a cowherd boy, if I meet you, my heart will be satisfied. I'm hankering for that. So, in this mood, he was constantly singing and pulling the rath. So, this whole pastime is also explained that how the mood, inner mood of Srimati Radharani and gopis is also explained in this particular section. Very elaborate section. How Lord the Brajvasis are speaking to Krishna, how Lord Krishna is replying them, and how he is subservient to their love. So in this way, the whole exchange is explained in this chapter. And then Swarup Damodar Goswami actually is the only person who actually understands the emotional ecstasy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he helps him, he guides him, and he used to sing according to the emotions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in aiding his devotional ecstasies. In this way, he would personally serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And gradually, Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy upon seeing Lord Jagannath was increasing. It was like an ocean of bliss. And in response to that, he was experiencing, like he was becoming overwhelmed with transcendental bliss. And it is said, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, even Lord Jagannath and Baldev, they were becoming completely overwhelmed in ecstasy looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what happens was, in this whole thing, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, he actually falls down when Pratap Rudra Maharaj was nearby. So what happens was, Pratap Rudra Maharaj, out of his ecstasy, goes and picks him up with great respect. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to his external senses, and he says, how bad I am being touched by a sinful person. He literally tells, like, already Pratap Rudra is so anxious to meet him, and some or other he really was seriously, sincerely wanted to serve. So he goes and catches, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, oh my god, I'm being touched by a sense gratification. So in this way he just pushes and goes. But still, Pratap Rudra Maharaj's greatness, that he does not take it anything badly. He's just happy that he got to touch Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the external it was only an external anger. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was internally very pleased with Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya actually encourages Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Don't worry, whatever he said is external. In his heart, he is very happy with you. He is just showing some external anger. Don't worry, the Lord is very satisfied with you. And he was literally he's just using you as an example to teach to the world. Soon you will have his mercy, so don't worry. So in this way, he encourages Pratap Rudra Maharaj. And during the Rathayatra, there are places where the Rath would stop, and there they would offer boga. And especially when they come to a place called as Bada Gandhi, I think. So they usually stop the Ratha because it will be like kind of midday, very hot. So they would stop the Ratha and they would make special offerings to Jagannath, and the devotees will be taking a break. And that's when then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to meet Pratap Rudra in the coming chapter. So would you all like to take a break also? We'll come in 5 minutes from 3 to 4. Yes. Thank you. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna. Hope you are here. So now we have just seen the 3 chapters of 11, 12, and 13. That how all the devotees came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri, and all the devotees are visiting Jagannath Puri. And it's the season of Jagannath Rathayatra, and they all cleansed the Gundicha temple, and also the Rathayatra festival started, where the Lord arrived through the Pandu Vijay festival onto the chariot. How the kirtanas began, and the devotees are now going to engage in further pastimes of taking the Supreme Lord to, that is, Gundicha temple. So in this way, and in the beginning, we see so far, recapping what happened with Pratap. He initially requested, immediately after Chaitanya left to Vrindavan tour, he requested Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that please arrange for a personal interview with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said yes, of course, after he comes back. But when he comes back, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya checks with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he refuses. So Pratap Maharaj is very disturbed, but he actually encourages him that during the Rathayatra festival, you will get the mercy. In between, they keep trying. Ramananda Rai also put good word. And in between, Nityananda Prabhu arranged to convince, to console the king. He arranged that, okay, the Lord is still not fully agreeing. So let's send the garments, the upper garment of the Lord. Let's bring the prince to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, he kept the king encouraged. And on the Rathayatra day, we saw how Pratap Rudra Maharaj spontaneously swept in front of the Jagannath Ratha, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very present there, and he saw it, and he was very pleased with his meek and humble approach. And that's why he awarded Pratap Rudra Maharaj a transcendental vision during the procession. And as the carts progressed towards Gundicha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while dancing, he fell onto the ground in ecstasy, and Pratap Rudra Maharaj spontaneously caught him, though the Lord actually feigned anger and told, "Oh, I'm being touched by a Vishayi sense gratifier," to just instruct his associates. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya encouraged Pratap Rudra Maharaj, "Don't worry, you will get the mercy during this Rathayatra procession." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya reassures, because king becomes very fearful. Imagine directly hearing from the Supreme Lord, "I will not see you and don't even touch me." So it's very heartbreaking. At the same time, Pratap Rudra Maharaj is surviving because of the mercy of the devotees who like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, Nityananda Prabhu himself, always encouraging and making sure, yes, you will receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, don't worry. And then we see how Pratap Rudra Maharaj actually enters the garden, because, as I said, in the procession, in the course of the procession of Rathayatra, they actually stop at one particular place where Jagannath ji could be made some offerings, because he is also tired and all the devotees are also tired. Vadadanda, I think, in that particular place, they stop, which is like a middle ground between, somewhere in the middle between Lord Jagannath's temple and Gundicha temple. I'm not sure if still it has a lot of gardens. At that time in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that how this place was filled with gardens and it has a lot of coconut trees, so people could actually rest, and the Lord also could be offered, made some offerings, so he also gets a break. And that's when actually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enters into the garden and lies down to rest for a while. And all the devotees actually dress up Pratap Rudra Maharaj like a normal person, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sends him. He sends, okay, just go and start pressing start doing massage for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's legs. And if he asks you, just sing Gopi Gita, he will give you mercy. The same way, Pratap Maharaj enters the garden, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, "Who are you?" he says, "I'm your servant." And then he starts singing Jayati Tayadikam Janmanavraja Shrima. He starts singing Gopi Gita. And as he starts singing Gopi Gita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so impressed. He becomes so happy. And especially when he starts singing this particular verse, Tavakatam Tapta Jivanam, Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimata Bhuvi Granantiye Bhurita Jana. So when he sings this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes completely ecstatic. And he just calls, "Oh, you are Burida, you are munificent, you have reminded me of Krishna, you have come to me, come to give me Krishna." So in this way, he becomes so happy with the service of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. Of course, in his heart, he knows completely clearly that this is not just anybody else, this is Pratap Rudra Maharaj himself. And because his menial service and his attitude of determination to receive the mercy, so he becomes very pleased and then embraces him. Because the loving service was rendered by the king with sincerely, and that is why here we see that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, "Who are you? You have done so much for me by making me drink the nectar of Krishna's pastimes." He says, "Raja kahe ami tomar daser anudas, bhrityera bhritya kare morash." He says, "I am Raja kahe me tomar daser anudas. I am a servant of your servants. Bhrityer bhritya kara ei morash. This is my only desire. Please make me the servants of the your servants." So in this way, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears, he becomes so pleased with the attitude of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, and he actually embraces him. So Pratap Rudra Maharaj becomes completely overjoyed that finally he received this embrace from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his ecstatic state of emotions, and spontaneously offering him an embrace out of his mercy. So Pratap Rudra Maharaj becomes completely overjoyed, and in this way he finally receives the mercy of the Lord. And we can see that how there was three important reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for Pratap Rudra Maharaj to receive the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First of all, his desire. He developed a burning desire, a serious, sincere desire to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to receive his mercy. He was fully convinced that his kingdom, wealth, power, and position could not bring him happiness. And he instead, completely was focused on receiving the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He did not think, okay, anyway, I'm a king. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is staying in my kingdom. And because I'm anyway taking care of the kingdom nicely and the temple work is being run nicely, that's why he is here. So I'm already doing my service. So what is the problem? So he did not think like that. He specifically wanted the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, he was under the direction of devotees like Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, Nityananda Prabhu. So he was constantly taking guidance from them. So for his endeavors in me trying to receive the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he enlisted the help of such great devotees. Because of that spiritual company, which continued to offer him guidance, inspiration, and eventually it also made the way for him to receive the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also his personal determination. So his desire and the direction of the devotees, association of devotees, and his personal determination, that unbreakable determination and perseverance, despite externally even not receiving the mercy of the Lord. It can be very hard. We all think, we all go to the Lord, we all pray, we all have this conviction that the Lord will be merciful to us and he will be happy to give us his mercy. Imagine if in the position of Pratap Rudra Maharaj, where the Supreme Lord personally is saying, "I will meet anybody but the king. I will give mercy to anyone but the king." So where is the hope actually? When the Supreme Lord himself says, "I will not give mercy to you," still this is the nature of a devotee. Even if Krishna says, "I will not give you mercy," the devotee does not give up. So that he continues, okay, there is no other way than receiving the mercy of Krishna. Even Krishna says, "I won't accept you." We don't have anybody else to go. So that is the mood of a devotee that Pratap Rudra Maharaj is teaching, that how, despite all the setbacks, he did not give up. He did not become discouraged. He kept his determination and he kept his endeavor. So in this way, he received finally the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And then after that, Lord Chaitanya accepts prasad with the devotees during the Rathayatra festival break. So all the devotees get some prasad, they all get replenished with some energy. And again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees start to push Jagannath Rath towards the Gundicha temple, because Jagannath temple, Jagannath Rathayatra, it is said that it moves on its own will, on the will of Jagannath ji. Because there was in the modern history also, there was one situation where Jagannath, one lady, she became a CM of Odisha, chief minister. I'm not sure of his name. She was Rekha Behra or something like that. So she became this chief minister, and she was very frustrated with this whole Rathayatra procession because it would start, but it would just not end on time. It was just its own affair. Like sometimes it would end in the same day, sometimes it go on for 2 days. So if it goes on 2 days, then you have to have so many extra people taking care of the procession, police, and so much arrangement from the government that needs to be provided for that particular whole ceremony to until it ends. So she thought it cannot go on for 2 days. It should start at this time and it should end at this time, because she thought, how far is these two temples? They are so nearby. So it should not take more than a few hours to be to pull this rath from this end to that end. So she decided this time it should start, this time should end. And to her surprise, the ratha would not move only. After a particular point, the ratha will not move. It literally thousands of people are pulling, but the ratha will not budge. So she brought in elephants. She brought in, it said she brought the local police force. Nothing. The ratha would not budge. That night, the ratha just, it didn't even cross the amount of distance that it usually would cross. So she was totally humbled. She had to actually go and beg forgiveness from Lord Jagannath ji. And eventually, he took his own time. The next day only, the Ratha actually arrived. So it said Jagannath ji moves by his own will. Even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance, after he appeared in Jagannath Puri, before his house, before the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the Ratha came and stopped. They tried their best to move the Ratha, it would not budge. And they were all wondering why. They were all wondering why for a long time. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife comes to know that the Ratha is, of course, she is also there. And she realizes, okay, let me just now take this opportunity and take my newborn child to take blessings of Lord Jagannath. So when she goes, and garland falls from Jagannath ji, and then immediately after the child takes the blessings, the ratha starts moving. So in this way, on this particular day also, the ratha would not move, and all the devotees would come back after taking prasad, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would, he goes back, he actually goes behind the ratha, and he just touches it. Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just touching with his head and like pushing. That's all he has to. Immediately this rath actually starts moving, and in this way, there was, the Ratha actually reaches the Gundicha temple, and Lord Chaitanya becomes so happy in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Finally, Krishna is back in Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings of separation actually subsides, feeling that Krishna is finally returned to Vrindavan. And in this way, he always, for the rest of the time, he engages in thinking of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and completely absorbed in that consciousness. And then they all perform so many Vrindavan pastimes like a drama around the gardens in Gundicha temple. They engage in water sports in the nearby Indradyumna Sarovar. In this way, the devotees are also very happy. Lord Chaitanya is also very happy. For 9 continuous days, Lord Jagannath actually stayed at Gundicha temple. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed so many pastimes, like with the devotees dancing and chanting and bathing and absorbed in the pastimes of Vrindavan. And to that extent, the large garden where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed all these pastimes, that garden actually gets named Jagannath Vallabh Garden, and there he takes rest. The fifth day after Lord Jagannath arrives at Gundicha temple, there is a festival called as Hera Panchami festival. So this 14th chapter goes into great detail explaining this Hera Panchami festival, both in terms of what happens in the festival and also the philosophical understanding and the mood behind the festival. It's very sweet to read. It's a huge section. However, it's the fifth day. Panchami means fifth day. The fifth day after Lord Jagannath leaves from Jagannath temple on their, Lakshmi Devi becomes very angry, because when he leaves home, Jagannath ji tells Lakshmi Devi that I will come back in a day. So Lakshmi thought, okay, you're going out for a day, that's fine. But it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, fifth day, she becomes really angry that she's been neglected. So she gorgeously decorates herself, takes all her maidservant associates. She comes out of the temple, and she actually goes and tries to enter the Gundicha temple. But actually, the servants of Lord Jagannath, they don't allow her to enter the Gundicha temple. So then asks Sarup Damodar Goswami, why does Jagannath not take Lakshmi with him? Like, why is he not taking Lakshmi Devi also with? Because Vrindavan is the place for the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna. So it's going to be a different mood. So the queens of Dwarka did not go to Vrindavan. So that's why he does not take. And because she is neglected, she becomes angry. And she goes with this huge palanquin bedecked with all kinds of jewels. And she carries a lot of umbrellas, chamaras, flags, so many servants carrying boxes of sweets and betel nuts and water pitchers. And in this way, it's like a whole procession, very opulent, goes to Gundicha temple. However, they are very unsuccessful in getting inside. So in this chapter, you will also see what is the mood of Lakshmi Devi, what is the mood of Radharani, and all these intimate things are explained in this particular chapter. And after that, she becomes very angry. She on the because she is not able to get into the Gundicha temple, she becomes too angry and orders her servants to break Jagannath Ratha. The Rath that he used stands outside the Gundicha temple. So the servants of Lakshmi Devi actually little bit damage the Ratha on their way back to Jagannath temple because of their frustration. They are not able to get into. Okay, what's a chamara? The white color fan that you see in the temple during Aarti, they offer a white yak tail. That is the chamara thing.
Sorry, I mistakenly called it a broom-like thing, but I wanted to say like a fan.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, the fluffy broom you wrote. Yes. So that is called as the chamara. It's a yak tail. On her way to back, they arrest all the servants of Jagannath also. They because the servants of Jagannath are also colliding, combine like plotting with him. So the servants of Lakshmi Devi, they actually attack all the servants of Jagannath Ji. They actually call them ill names and they actually handcuff them and they actually disrespect them. And in this way, they come back. They're very angry. And Lakshmi Devi says the door to the main temple should be closed. Lord Jagannath cannot actually enter this temple. So she closes the door and orders all her assistants that if Jagannath ever comes back, the door should not be open. So when Jagannath ji comes back, then he actually engages in there is like he sends people to actually sends his servants to convince. Lakshmi Devi becomes not convinced. And eventually Lord Jagannath sends some rasgulla. That's what I've heard. So he sends some rasgulla sweets specially made and Lakshmi Devi eats and she becomes convinced and then Jagannath ji enters and then there is a lot of festivities which continues to happen because there is also before of course for Jagannath ji to get to the Jagannath temple again there is a return Rathayatra, Ulta Rath. So that again that happens. So in this year when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was observing the ropes that they used to pull the rod, they actually sometimes break. They actually sorry the particular silken ropes that they use for Jagannath Ji and the cotton pads that they use for bringing Jagannath Ji Pandu Vijay festival, and that thing actually breaks. So Chaitanya personally instructs Satyaraj Khan and Ramananda Vasu from Kulina Gram to make ropes which are of better quality so that it does not break. So in this way, Lord Jagannath finally returns to the temple and he gets back to his throne because Lakshmi Devi allows him inside the temple, and all the devotees are very happy, continuing to take darshan. So in this way, they observe this Rathayatra festival very ecstatically. So in this way, this whole Hera Panchami and Jagannath Rathayatra back and forth, both the Raths, they all are observed by devotees along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a whole section where Sarup Damodar Goswami and Srivas Thakur, they all discuss the mood of Radharani, mood of Lakshmi Devi, different bhavs, and all of those descriptions are there. It's a long section in that Hera Panchami section. You can read. And in chapter 15, now that the Sankirtan Rathayatra is over and Chaturmasya is over, the Lord actually sends all the devotees back to their places. It's been so many months that they are away from their services. So he sends them back. And after that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts prasad at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. So that's what we will see in chapter 15. So before going back, they have some more time. So they observe Janmashtami, they observe Vijayadashmi, and they also observe other festivals. So in this way, the Lord engages in so many festivals. It is said, it's a very nice section where it is said that the Lord dresses like the Gopas during Janmashtami, and also they all go around and festival kind of they celebrate all those things. And also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also personally dresses like a cowherd boy, and Advaita Acharya actually challenges Lord Chaitanya. If you are really a cowherd boy, you should be able to show us how to swirl a rod. They will take, the cowherd boys will have a rod in their hands and they will be doing swirling. He says, if you really are a cowherd boy, you should show. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also takes a big rod. So he throws it in the sky, he catches it when it is falling, and he would put it between his legs and above. So I'm not sure if in Indian movies I've seen the hero would do all those things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually does all the, and devotees become extremely happy. It's like interesting to see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, despite being a sannyasi, actually dresses like a cowherd boy and engages in this pastimes and all that. And in Ram Navami, all the devotees dress as monkeys, monkey soldiers, vanaras. So during Vijayadashmi, because it is Lord Ram's pastimes, so they all dress as monkey soldiers, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally dresses up like, or within the emotion of Hanuman, he actually picks up a large tree branch and then he mounts a wall, and then he's in that mood of Hanumanji. He just is very angry. He says, "Where is that rascal Ravana? He has kidnapped the universal mother Sita. So now I shall kill him and all his family." So in this way, in the mood of Hanumanji, he gets absorbed in that mood and enacts pastimes. So in this way, the devotees actually observe so many festivals, continue to enjoy the presence of Prabhu. So after that, Sri Chaitanya requests Advaita that please distribute Krishna consciousness to everybody. And specifically, he orders Nityananda Prabhu, go to Bengal and distribute Krishna Bhakti everywhere. You can do it more than what I can do. So in this way, he speaks to every devotee and he offers them. He speaks to Srivas Pandit, he speaks to Raghav Pandit, he speaks also to Shivananda Sen, the Kulgram devotees. They all ask, who's a Vaishnava? So in this way, they actually, Chaitanya talks with so many devotees who are visiting from Bengal, gives them instructions, and gently sends them off back to Bengal because they are not going to leave his association. So he politely, gently instructs them what to do, and you can always come back next year. Please get back and focus on what you have to do, your services in life. So he sends them back. It's a huge section. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once all the devotees have gone back, so then he actually gets an invitation from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri, he came alone, literally with a handful of devotees. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had this opulence to always host Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was the only person there. So he cooked every day. He would very often offer prasad for to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his place. But when devotees from Bengal arrived, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had to take a back seat because every devotee from Bengal wanted to host Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for prasad. So one day Advaita Acharya, one day Srivas Thakur, like that, every devotee would be cooking in their own places and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be accepting prasad at their places because they are just visiting guests. So they were given priority. And once they all left, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became very exhausted. Now that everybody is gone, I get my opportunity again. So he immediately requests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come to his place and for taking prasad. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually accepts the prasad, and his wife cooks for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they cook a lot of prasad. Like literally in some 25-30 verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains all the different items that wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya cooked for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today is Ekadashi, so I don't think it is wise to take the names of whatever was cooked, but she really cooked a lot of stuff. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes there, and then they very happily wash his lotus feet and offer him achaman and set up a nice place, and they start to serve him very happily. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also starts taking prasad very happily, spending time with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But what happens was, towards the end, Amogha, his son-in-law, he comes and then says, he actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya locks all the doors and guards them so that nobody else comes when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. Especially Amogha does not come because he knows Amogha's attitude. However, when he was slightly distracted, Amogha just rushes in like a small kid. Like he just like rushes inside and he says, "What kind of a sannyasi you are eating so much? So this much food is sufficient to satisfy 10 to 12 people, and here this sannyasi is alone eating so much." So he says that and he runs away. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife, they become so angry. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya starts cursing Amogha and takes a stick and chases Amogha out. But of course, Amogha is like a young person, so he just runs away. And wife of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes so angry. She feels, I don't mind my daughter becoming a widow, so may you die. So she also curses him. And eventually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacifies them. Say, okay, don't take it very seriously. He's what you he's not, you don't take it very seriously. So it's not your problem. So, and his wife, they feel so remorseful that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are so sorry. We invited you to our house, and instead of serving you, we actually brought disrespect. We actually embarrassed you because of Amogha's behavior. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, my Amogha said is right. It is surely there's so much food was here, and it's not a blasphemy. So it's not your offense also. It is not your problem. So don't worry. So in this way, he consoles both of them, but still they both are so distraught. Even after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves, they are so distraught. They become so morose that Amogha disrespected Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that. What happens to Amogha was he falls sick with cholera immediately. And as soon as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya hears about this, he says, yes, Providence has served what is right. Because he offended Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, so Providence is serving him right by giving him cholera. So let him die. That way, he will, at least his sins will be washed away. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu receives this message through Gopinath Acharya that Amogha is dying of cholera. So immediately, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to that place where Amogha is with a lot of mercy. He touches the heart of Amogha and says, the heart of a Brahmana is by nature supposed to be very pure and is actually the proper place for Krishna to sit because it is very clean. But why have you allowed this impure jealousy to sit here and contaminate your heart? So please give up this, chant Hare Krishna. In this way, he touches him, and immediately his disease gets cured. So Amogha gets up and chants and becomes convinced of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and begs forgiveness and falls at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and falls at the feet of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and everyone and begs for their forgiveness. And in this way, he becomes completely transformed, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes very happy. Rather, initially, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya comes to Lord Chaitanya and says, like, why did you bring Amogha back to life? Better he had died. Lord Chaitanya says, Amogha is a child, is your son, your daughter's husband. So the father does not take the faults of a son very seriously. So whatever he had done is past. Now he is completely transformed. So accept him. So in this way, he reconciles all of them. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go take darshan of Chaitanya Lord Jagannath and come back for prasad at his place. So in this way, again, they actually serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with a lot of love and affection, prasad. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is enjoying so many pastimes in Jagannath Puri. However, in the back of his heart, he also wants to go to Vrindavan because that was one of his initial desires, that he really wanted to go to Vrindavan. So he again develops that desire. So when he actually expresses his desire to go to Vrindavan, devotees Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Rai, they all become very morose. They all become very fearful afraid of the separation from the Lord, because last time he went for 2 years to the South India. So their main thing is, at least he went to South India and he came back after 2 years. There is no guarantee if he goes to Vrindavan, he will ever come back from Vrindavan. So that is why they don't want him to go. First of all, the separation when he is away from Puri. And the second thing is, they are not even sure if he will ever come back from Vrindavan. So they are like, they really delay, what do you call, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from going from Vrindavan. They say, no, there are some festivals. This is not the right season for you to go. So you can go afterwards. During the month of Kartik, you can go to Vrindavan. So they stop because Jagannath Rathayatra is coming again. So you should stay here and you should meet the devotees. Again, the devotees from Bengal come. They all meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then they have all the pastimes. They attend Jagannath Ratra, and still the next the season also comes. Still, the devotees are not giving actually permission for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan. So he sends all the Bengal devotees back, and still And the same thing happens. He tells Nityananda Prabhu, I told you not to come to Puri every year, but again this year you have come. Please take my order very seriously. But for you, no one can do. And I preach in Bengal about Krishna consciousness. So please stay there, take your service seriously. And also he speaks to all the devotees. And we also see this pastime where Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he stays back for Odana Shashti. He goes and sees that Lord Jagannath is being offered a starched garment. So he becomes very irritated. Like, why are these pandas offering such things to Jagannathji? In his mind, he becomes very angry at the servants of Lord Jagannath. So in the dream, Lord Jagannath and Baldev, they come to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. They actually slap him. How dare you? My devotees are offering this with so lovingly. How dare you actually find faults with my servants? And they slap Vidyanidhi to the extent his cheeks become completely swollen. Actually, Pundarik Vidyanidhi becomes very happy that the Lord is personally in having pastimes with him. So this is all again explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat elaborately. So in this way, the devotees come, they stay for Rathayatra, they all go back to Rathayatra. And Lord Chaitanya actually, he spent the first 2 years on his tour, and the other 2 years, he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but he could not go because the devotees like Ramananda Rai and Swarup Dama, what do you call it? Sarvam Bhattacharya, they kept creating blocks. And so during the 5th year, the Bengal devotees came for Rathayatra, and after seeing it, they did not stay, they actually returned. They just come for Rathayatra. Immediately after Rathayatra, they go back. And this is the 5th year after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. So after immediately the devotees left, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Ramanand Rai that my desire is to go to Vrindavan, and that desire is increasing day by day. But because of all your tricks, that I could not go for my trip for past 2 years. So this time the devotees haven't stayed back; they have all gone back to Bengal immediately. So this time I have time and I want to go to Vrindavan. So please permit me. Without your mercy, I won't be able to go to Vrindavan. So in this way, he becomes very strong, and he becomes very persistent. So they inform Pratap Rudra. Oh, Pratap Rudra Maharaj, actually Lord Chaitanya wants to go to Vrindavan. So Pratap Rudra Maharaj actually comes, takes darshan of when he is about to leave, and even his queens also come and take darshan of the Super. And Gadadhar Pandit also wants to go to Vrindavan along with Chaitanya. Says, you have taken Kshetras that you will remain in Jagannath Puri, so it is not good for you. So in this way, he forbids Gadadhar Pandit. And then Pratap Rudra Maharaj makes orders that wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes, we need to make good residences, there needs to be good food. If he wants transport between the places, and whatever taxes, whatever boards that needs to be arranged, everything you go and arrange. So he sends assistants so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can smoothly travel from here to Vrindavan. And on the way, then there is a Muslim governor who also becomes completely changed in there, by goes through a transformation of heart by the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, he actually goes to Panihati. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reaches Panihati, which is the house of Raghav Pandit. And from there, he goes to Shivas Thakur's house is Kumar Hatta. Then from there, he goes to Shivananda Sen's house at Kanchadapada. And from there, he visits Vasudev Datta. Then he visits Vidya Vachaspati at Vidyanagar. Then from there, he goes to Kulia, then Shantipur, his house. Actually, Sachimata comes this time again to Shantipur to meet Chaitanya. I think this is the last time that Chaitanya meets Sachi Devi in person. First time was after taking sannyas, and then this is the second time that he comes to Shantipur. I don't think he ever comes back to Shantipur. And from Shantipur, he goes to Ramakeli, where he meets Rupas Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, and he gives them their blessings. He meets them, he instructs them to continue. When the right time comes, they will be able to come and join him. And then from there, Ramakeli, actually, Sanatan Goswami he advises him, you have come with a huge crowd. This is not going to be easy or good for you to go with this huge crowd to Vrindavan. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Kanai Natashala and realizes what Sanatan Goswami said is true, that he cannot go with such a huge group of people following him to Vrindavan. So he, instead of going further to Vrindavan, he comes back to Shantipur, spends for 10 days with all the devotees, and then from there he comes back to Jagannath Puri. So before in Shantipur, he also meets Raghunath Das Goswami, And Raghunath Das Goswami is very eager to come back to come and join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At this point of time, he is already even married. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, wait, don't be crazy. Just do what you have to do currently. And when the right time comes, you will be actually able to come and join me at Nilachal, Jagannath Puri. So when now I'm trying to go to Vrindavan, but when I go to Vrindavan and come back, by that time you can come. So Raghunath Das Goswami follows Lord's instructions, and he continues to take care of his household duties. And whenever his parents actually loosen their guard, at that time he escapes later. And that part is not given here. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travels back to Jagannath Puri from Shantipur. So instead of going to Vrindavan, he takes a turn from Shantipur. He comes back to Jagannath Puri because he realizes. So Sanatan Goswami's advice that it was good that I should not have gone with such a huge group of people. It's not nice. Rather, I actually want to go to Vrindavan alone. So in this way, he actually tells that Sanatan Goswami's guidance was good. And he also comes back and begs forgiveness from Gadadhar Pandit, because I offended you. I made your heart very unhappy. Because of this reason, I could not go to Vrindavan. That Krishna did not allow me to come to Vrindavan. Actually, Gadadhar Pandit immediately catches hold of the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he says, wherever you stay is Vrindavan. And just to instruct people, you still want to go to Vrindavan. We understand that. So eventually you will get to go to Vrindavan. So they convince Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, don't worry, soon we will arrange for you to go to Vrindavan. So in this way, this chapter 16 is where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desires to go to Vrindavan, but devotees are delaying it. And in the meantime, Bengal devotees come, they attend Rathayatra. And in this way, one whole year goes. The next year also they come, but they don't stay, they go back. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realizes, if I keep asking, they will not let me go. So he tells the devotees, hey, you guys are not giving me the permission to go to Vrindavan. I've been wanting to go to Vrindavan. It's been 2 years. So I really want to go to. So then they inform Pratap Rudra Maharaj, all the arrangements are made. But the problem was, now it has become a big affair. Everybody knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to Vrindavan. There's a huge crowd, thousands of people are following him wherever he goes. So it becomes very uncontrollable. Sanatan Goswami says, I don't think this is the right way to go to Vrindavan with so many people. You will not be able to experience the beauty of Vrindavan and engage in and remembering Krishna in that place. So he comes back through Shantipur, back to Jagannath Puri, and again he makes an attempt. So first he tries, devotees don't let him go for 2 years, and he eventually sets out, but he still is unable to make it. So he comes back. This pastime is also very elaborately explained in Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. I'm pretty sure Narsimananda Brahmachari's pastime, they are also explained. And this time, finally, the last attempt that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes, and he travels to Vrindavan. He receives the permission from the devotees to go to Vrindavan. Before even starting, he goes and asks them, last time I pushed all of you, and I think you all were so half-hearted in letting me go. That is the reason Krishna did not allow. Unless you all wholeheartedly give me blessings, I will not be able to go to Vrindavan. So he really goes and begs blessings from Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sarvam Bhattacharya. He says, unless you wholeheartedly bless me so that I can go to Vrindavan, I'll not be able to. And this time they also tell him, okay, please take one nice Brahmin with you. So not just one Brahmin, they send two. Balabhadra Bhattacharya and Balabhadra Bhattacharya also gets an assistant. So in this way, two people accompany Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to help him in his travel. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passes through this Jarikanda forest, the famous Jarikanda Lila, where he even makes animals and like tigers and deers and all kinds of animals to ecstatically chant and dance. You can imagine Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Suddenly he goes along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a forest area, and he sees all the animals are all dancing and thing. And you'll see this painting, Balabhadra Bhattacharya will be like hiding in the behind, and all the animals are dancing with Chaitanya. And in this way, they travel through Jarikanda forest, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so happy, pleased with the service of Balabhadra Bhattacharya, because he would always collect all kinds of spinach, roots, and fruits. And he would keep some grains that is enough to cook for 2 to 4 days. So that where in some, if they pass through villages, it is fine, because somebody would offer, some Brahman, some Vaishnav would offer invitation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, if they are passing through villages, then they wouldn't have anything to cook. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya would carry some grains, milk, yogurt, ghee, whatever for a few days that he could manage. And in this way, wherever there was nobody to provide invitation, he would personally cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would go around, collect the vegetables and the grains. With the grains and the help of roots and fruits he collected from the forest, he would make such nice preparations that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. He didn't even experience any austerity. He said Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to regularly take showers, so he would arrange for that also wherever there was a water body. And he would create fire if it was cold for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to relax. So in this way, he was constantly engaged in services of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He constantly wanted to make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comfortable. So the Lord became very happy, and he said, Chaitanya Balabhadra Bhattacharya, it is by only by your consider kindness that I am so happy and I am able to experience this travel without any inconvenience. So it's just Krishna's mercy that he has sent you, and just by your mercy, I am able to experience this. And in this way, he glorifies, and Balabhadra Bhattacharya says, this is my actually great, what do you call, benediction. So millions of Lakshmis are wanting to serve the Lord, and here I am getting an opportunity to personally cook, and whatever I am cooking, you are happily taking it. So it is my great fortune. So in this way, he appreciates Balabhadra Bhattacharya's service. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through his travel, arrives at Varanasi. Here Chandrasekhar Acharya and Tapana Mishra, they are all like staying here. And this, we have seen this in the past in the Adi Lila, this particular episode where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visits Varanasi. This will come again in this, and again in the following 18th chapter also, I think, not 18th, 25th chapter of Madhya Lila also it will come. So basically, in his travel, he has passed through Jarikanda forest and he has come to Varanasi. There, devotees, Tapan Mishra, who's the father of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, who was sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a long time back before he took sannyas to go and settle in Varanasi. And also another devotee, Chandrasekhar Acharya, he also lives there. So in this way, those devotees host, and there is another Brahmin from Maharashtra. He also actually hosts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the news that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in town and he's going around chanting and dancing, and this news goes to Prakashananda Saraswati. Prakashananda Saraswati actually criticized Lord Chaitanya, saying he is a sentimental person. Why he is not studying Vedanta Sutra and instead engaging in dancing and singing like sentimental people along with the common public. So the Brahman informs Lord Chaitanya about Prakashananda Saraswati's comments, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not get disturbed. He says, because Mayavadis are offenders, they are not able to understand the glories of Lord Krishna's names. And he does not do anything. He just convinces the devotees, pacifies them, and he continues in his travel. He goes to Mathura. From there, from Varanasi, he arrives at Mathura. Of course, he goes through Prayag, where he bathes at the Ganga Yamuna temple and visits the famous Venu Madhava temple. And eventually he comes to Mathura. And the problem for Balabhadra Bhattacharya was, whenever Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Yamuna, he would jump into Yamuna in ecstasy and he would sometimes become unconscious. So he has to be constantly be very cautious, especially after Chaitanya comes to Mathura and Vrindavan. Ecstasy becomes very high. And Chaitanya also in Mathura sees Brahmana called as a Sanodiya Brahmana, and he sees that this Brahmana is dancing and chanting in ecstasy. So he meets him, and they both understand that he is a disciple of Madhya Puri. And of course, the Sanodiya Brahman comes to know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a disciple of Ishwara Puri, his god brother's disciple. So in this way, they become very happy, and he gets hosted by the Sanodiya Brahmin. From there, from Mathura, then he proceeds towards Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, Olga.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question about 92. It says that one can be a physician by caste and have another occupation while being a physician instead of that. I thought castes were supposed to be like Vaishyas, Dalits, so on. Was it different at that point in time, or is this like a category of human beings by profession only, not actual castes?
So you're saying that he was a physician by caste and a clerk by profession. So what happened? The whole Varnashram system got a little bit became birth based also. Ideally, it was supposed to be just one's psychophysical nature and one's work. However, in the long degradation over so many ages, that this whole system has become more of a birth based. So he was born in a family of physicians. He was currently working in a profession as a clerk. Does it make sense? I'm just repeating what is written there. I don't know if I clarified your question.
Like you can be born in a caste of teachers and you can be a car washer?
Yeah, that's what happens if you go take a taxi in Mumbai. So many times people will say I'm that, I'm this, but they're driving taxis. So what happens in the modern times is like not everybody is, just because they're born in a particular family, it's not that they have the same set of skills. So ideally they're supposed to individually be known for who they are, but it becomes very complicated and practical. There is no centralized body to tell someone, okay, who you are. So it's a general culture, it has become a system. So then who's going to tell, like in one household the father is Brahmin, brother is Kshatriya. It becomes like too complicated. So for simplicity's sake, people thought if somebody is born in this particular family, they're by this caste, and your profession is something. So the whole varnashram became very removed from the purpose of pleasing Vishnu, pleasing Krishna through their endeavors. So because of that, now it has taken its own shape.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And we were discussing about the Sanodia Brahman, that how after meeting him in Mathura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeds towards Vrindavan. So now finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Vrindavan. Imagine this is the combined form. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Radha and Krishna. From the time he took sannyas, he has been eager. So after so many years, he is finally here in Vrindavan. So you can imagine his ecstasy, and he is just going around in all the forest. Wherever he went, he took bath in Yamuna with great ecstatic love. Whenever he saw herds of cows grazing, he immediately would go and be with them, and they would be moving, and it was just completely ecstatic. All the animals, wherever he went, the deers and the bees and the birds and the trees and the creepers, everything was exhibiting ecstatic symptoms. Everyone was exhibiting ecstatic symptoms by coming in association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because they are finally seeing Radha and Krishna. So all moving and non-moving living entities of Vrindavan became very jubilant to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was also reciprocating. And in this way, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was completely in ecstasy, always absorbed in the mood of ecstatic love. So the very name of Vrindavan was enough to please him. Now imagine he's literally in Vrindavan. So in this way, he is so ecstatic. And Lord, in Vrindavan, what he does is what is the 18th chapter. And basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travels all over Vrindavan, and he discovers so many places in Vrindavan because they were lost. So he discovers Radha Kund and he offers prayers, and he glorifies Radha Kund and worships, establishes that place. And he also sees the Haridev, the deity Haridev in Govardhan. And he also goes to, he desires to see Gopal, because Gopal is on top of Govardhan hill. That Puri established a Gopal temple. Sanodia Brahman says, when Madhavendra Puri came to here and he established Gopal temple, that's when I took initiation. So he's very eager to see the Gopal, but he does not want to climb Govardhan hill. So then he's like, how will I be able to see the deity Gopal if I'm not able to go above the mountain? So he's like a little bit confused, but however, there is no other way. So the Lord comes personally down, that he comes, the Lord, there was a, what do you call, rumor that the Turkish soldiers are attacking Vrindavan, because it was a medieval period in India where there was a lot of Muslim invasion in India, and there was constant attacking of these, especially temple towns like Vrindavan, Mathura, of course, Kashi, Ayodhya. All these places were constantly attacked, and there would be like a constant threat of invasion and attacks, especially because for two reasons. Both they wanted the money that comes from these places, the jewelry and the treasury that the deities had, and the lot of wealth that the temples possessed, and also the religious reason that they did not like idol worship, they did not like deity worship, so they considered them as idols. So they wanted to destroy all of that. So there was constant fear that in many of these temple towns were living in fear that anytime they could be attacked. So that is why the same way here a rumor spread that the Turkish soldiers are going to attack Gopal's temple. So what happens is overnight the devotees bring the temple, sorry, not bring the temple, bring the deity from the temple on top of Govardhan Hill, and they move it to a nearby village in a particular person's house, and they continue the worship very secretly. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu receives this news because this particular place where this temple of Gopal was there on top of Govardhan, that is called as the Annakut, where the Annakut happened, Aniyor and Annakut. So that place is the where the temple was on top of the Govardhan. So due to fear, the whole village was deserted and everybody ran away due to the fear of Muslims. And Gopal was moved from place to place continuously, because if the news goes that Gopal is here, and because it's very difficult to keep it secret, if they ever come to know, then they will attack. So they would constantly keep moving. So in this way, sometimes Gopal would be living in someone's house, sometimes another village, sometimes under a simple place. All kinds of, the deity was constantly being moved in order to protect the deity. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood, came to know, and the deity is currently in a particular village. So he goes there and he takes darshan of Gopal deity from very close by. He is in ecstasy looking at this darshan of Gopalji, who was personally established by Madhavendra Puri, rescued by and established, because already I think another time there was an invasion and the Pujari hid him away and ran. So nobody knew where the Gopal deity was. So that's when he came in the heart of dream of Madhavendra Puri and told, I am being stored away in this particular place, please rescue me. And now again, the same experience they were going through. Some other devotees had that sincere, because no king was protecting them, there was no government protecting them. Rather, it was the simple devotees and the priest who really wanted to care for the deities. They gave their lives, they gave their everything to just protect deities. And some of these priests and some of these devotees, it is by their sincere efforts that we have, so whatever we have left over in terms of deities and in terms of holy places and temples, it's by the credit goes to these devotees. Of course there were kings also, but most of the times it is the common people also participated and protected the devotees, deities, and the holy places as much as possible. And becomes so happy after taking darshan of Gopalji. Then he goes around various places, Kamyavan, Nandishwar, Kadiravan, and so many other places. And in this way, he is having a great time, and he meets so many devotees. And then there also this famous pastime where the whole of Vrindavan starts to think that a fisherman in the night who's catching fishes to be Kalia, Krishna dancing on a Kalia, because he is on a boat with a lantern, and it somehow creates a impression that Krishna is dancing on the hood of Kalia at night. So everybody is going at night and seeing that. And one day Balbhadra Bhattacharya also goes and seeks permission from Lord Chaitanya to go and see Krishna directly, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu slaps him, says, you are such a scholar of scripture and you are falling for all these tricks. Where is Lord Krishna? Why he will come and dance on the Kalia at night? So he says, don't go by the statements of the fools. Why would Krishna appear in Kali Yuga? Do not become mad. Simply sit here and tomorrow night you will go see Krishna. And the next day, the rumor comes out saying, no, it was not actually Kalia, Krishna dancing on Kalia. It was a boatman who was trying to catch fish at night. So eventually, then in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gradually spends time. And then Balabhadra Bhattacharya has a problem because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is receiving a lot of invitations and a lot of interactions. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy has become too much higher in Vrindavan that he is not able to manage, because he has to constantly be worried about the personal security of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said, while in Jagannath Puri, he was having ecstasy, but it got 100 times multiplied when he was remembering Vrindavan. However, it got 1,000 times multiplied on his way to Vrindavan. Now it got 100,000 times multiplied when he was staying in Vrindavan. So it was becoming very difficult to balance, to manage. So Balbhadra Bhattacharya actually consults the Sanodia Brahman and tells him, I am not able to manage Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal security, his personal services. On top of this, all this crowd that is coming to see him, and all the invitations that comes for him to come and spend time at their place and eat. And I'm not able to satisfy everyone and manage or schedule everybody. And if people don't get, if I don't schedule their visit, So I'm not able to handle all these things. So Sanodia Brahman also agrees that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spent good enough time in Vrindavan. I don't think it's very, like they were worried for his safety because he was constantly in ecstasy. It was getting too much. So they thought, okay, if he goes to Prayag, it would be much easier. So then Balabhadra Bhattacharya goes and proposes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I'm not no longer able to tolerate the disturbance of the crowd. From early in the morning, there are people offering you invitations, and when they don't see you, they simply tag and eat my brain. That why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not coming to my place, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not here, and in this way, it's becoming too difficult. So it is also month of Magha. Why don't we go to Prayag and move from Vrindavan? So though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not want to leave at all, like he does not want to leave Vrindavan at all, he still considers the request of Balabhadra Bhattacharya, and he says, okay, whatever you desire, I'll follow that. And then he gets ready to move from Vrindavan. On their way, they're what you call Balabhadra Bhattacharya and his Brahmana assistant, and there is one Rajput Krishnadas and Sanodia Brahman. All the four of them escort Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to Prayag. But on their way, that their Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees cows, and the coward boy starts to play flute. So he goes completely in ecstasy because he is already coming out of Vrindavan, and then he sees cows, and then hears flute. He goes in ecstasy, and then he falls in ecstasy, and then he's foaming at his mouth, like white color kind of foam is coming. At that time, there is this soldiers from of the Patan. They cross and they see that these are four people standing around a sannyasi, and the sannyasi is foaming at his mouth. They think that these people actually poisoned the sannyasi. That's why he's foaming at his mouth. In a white color foam is coming, which is usually a sign of poisoning. And they think these people are thieves who are stealing away stuff from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and trying to kill him. So they try to arrest, and eventually it becomes the Rajaput who's with them. He chastises them. He says that let him wake up and he will tell you what you are. What we are not trying to murder him or take away his stuff. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu assumes consciousness, gets back to his consciousness, and clarifies the situation. And all these soldiers, they also become actually touched by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They become devotees. Especially one of them, he becomes a famous Mahabhagavata. And in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherever he went, he transformed people. And eventually they traveled to Prayag. And from Vrindavan, they started and they reached Prayag. And after reaching Prayag, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requests Sanodia Brahman and Rajaput Krishnadas to return home. He's very like, I'm very happy that you have come this far. So let us go to Prayag with you. Otherwise, he says, we have arrived at Prayag. We are arriving at Prayag soon. So you all go back to Vrindavan. We will carry on from here. You don't need to come. So now we are on the path of the Ganges. We will be able to go to Prayag very easily. But they both are like, we don't want to leave your association. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu convinces them and sends them back to Vrindavan, Mathura. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally arrives at Prayag. And for 10 consecutive days, he bathes in the confluence of Yamuna and Ganga, especially during the Magha Mela. Magha Mela is actually the Kumbh Mela during Makara Sankranti. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy was unlimited. Here also, he was very happy to bathe in Yamuna. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed so many pastimes, especially in Vrindavan. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami glorifies them and then prays that by the mercy of Sri Rupa and Raghunath, I am able to explain this. So and then from here onwards, from chapter 19, that Rupa Goswami is going to come and meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and later who will meet Sanatan Goswami. So the rest of the chapters 19 to 25 in Madhya Lila are pretty much just teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis, which is a lot. There is a lot of information to actually in those chapters, because that is the essential philosophical teachings he offers, and based on which Chaitanya Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami later writes so many books. All the instruction he gives to Goswamis are in those personal instructions, philosophical instructions, mission. All the instructions are there in these remaining verses. I know we were supposed to finish today the Antya Lila. However, I think it will take at least next week. We'll see. We'll be having, even after Chaitanya God Purnima, we might take that week. So we might go at least 1 week or max 2, not more. I'll not hold you guys. So next week for sure, on one day we can finish from chapters 19 to 25, which will complete Madhya Lila. And I think the next day we will try to complete Antya Lila as much as possible the next Sunday. So if you have time, you can try joining the next week. Hopefully we'll complete the next week. I think it's reasonable to go Adi Lila 1 week, Madhya Lila and Antya Lila 3 weeks at least for 3 sections. So thank you very much for your time. I do know it's not very easy to sit through, listen for 2 hours, and especially it's not very deep. It's just an overview. So still, I'm very grateful that we are able to engage and go through the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you all very much. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Purva, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. I just, when you were speaking about chapter 15, you were explaining over the feast, and then you said, sorry, it's Ekadashi today, but isn't it tomorrow, or is it different?
For you, it is tomorrow in India or France, wherever you are. But for US, it is today.
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to know whether, because of the time and place is different in the US.
Yeah. In the US, it is today, especially in New York area.
Okay, so it's 1 day before.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hari.
Thank you.